Certo, 13h30. Vamos lá. Todos me ouvem? Bem? Boa tarde. Eu sou o Luiz Parzianello. Quem não é meu amigo no LinkedIn, tá lá, pode fazer um QR Code. E deixo a dica, se tiver interesse, é óbvio, né? E deixo a dica, mantenham um QR Code Reader aí ativo, porque eu vou postar, eu vou mostrar algumas coisas, talvez seja interessante, aí você já pega o link na hora. Estou aqui hoje, e para mim é bem legal estar aqui, porque eu fui um dos que iniciou o Agile Brazil aqui, lá em Porto Alegre, em 2010. Está em Belo Horizonte, falando sobre o papel esse do Business Owner, e eu julgo que é o mais crítico na agilidade de negócios. Então, para contextualizar vocês.
In order to contextualize you, this is a lecture that in August was submitted in Washington about the future of agility. That is to say, I am not here to talk to you about how it was, but yes, what is coming ahead. This theme, I was looking at Alexandre Magno talking about emerging practices. This is an interesting theme because it is not theoretical. It is heavy. Sometimes I'll show you some diagrams that contain a lot of information. Obviously, I will not read it all. You can download it and consult it later, but it is about emerging practices. We began to see a number of problems in business management and agility, and the greatest gap was with senior management. Just a question: is it only us having problems with top management becoming a bottleneck at any other company? Happy you didn't raise your hands, because senior management is the solution when it works. But a quick summary about who am I? There's 3 brands there that represent my professional life. Asuria, business agility, getting real. And we're really embarking up this tree, getting real, really getting real. Because mainly in Washington I had discussions where I said, look, you're addressing this theme, business agility, and you're talking about frameworks, about processes, tools. What about the business? Where's the business? Now we're talking about products. Products are part of the business, not the business in itself. I know that the mindset of lean startup is very solid today, but I will show to you the evolution that we have seen and why the business owner has to be associated. A consulting company with a business consulting approach, with very lean approach, and those who think that the business line is only a line of prerequisites, please get updated. I was the co-author of the Business Analysis Board of Knowledge with a very cold team of professionals. And in 2011, we started mentioning discovery and delivery, this continuous cycle of finding business value and the actual problem and being together in delivering at all levels, operating technical and strategy. Soon it will be its 10th anniversary. It began in Chicago at the Agile Conference of Chicago. And I have this approach now. And Elite for Tomorrow is a movement that we have developed. We've been developing. We hold events in a number of places. Next week it is going to be held in São Paulo. Free admission. I'll show you the invitation. A number of people will be discussing the future of agility from what we saw at the Agile Conference. So apply here. Those of you who, I never do this, those of you, I am not a YouTuber. That is why I feel that I have few people who applied and joined me, who are following me at YouTube. I haven't had any time to write, but I like to talk. And people who know me know that I talk a lot. And I began to unload, to state my ideas, my thoughts, which has been plenty cool because we only say, well, you go there, there's a video showing this. Let us not waste any time with concepts. Let's tackle practice immediately. There's about 18. If I have 18 new followers today, I'll reach 1,000. But there's a series published. Before I went to Washington, I published 7 episodes about business owner. Everything that you will see about business owner, the sum of it all involves more than 2 hours, totals over 2 hours. Everything that you don't catch here will be found in these in this channel. You know, what we will discuss, the future of agility. There's a QR code here. If you type in a lead for tomorrow, you will reach this event. Next Wednesday from 2 to 6 p.m. in the fishbowl, we'll have a debate. How did I begin the lecture there? In a track on the future of agility. Here I said that the future of agility has its most critical role. So I said it's the future of agility. What is the type of roles? Which depends on what you believe is the future of agility. In the previous Lead for Tomorrow that we held earlier this month in Porto Alegre, I brought these topics that I observed. I did not ponder over engineering. I was focused on business agility and strategy. It is underlined here, and customers, adaptability, agility, topics, companies talking about scale, agility of scale, 400,000 employees. There seems to be a dispute of which company has the most employees. It's the metrics of vanity. And I recognize this is a fine work, and you know that my speech is agnostic. I'm not defending Scrum or Kanban or anything else. I'll be defending business because it is exceedingly small. I think we can do this. It is the capability that an organization has. Business agility, as everybody is mentioning. This is the definition of the institutes, the capability that an organization has of quickly adapting to market changes. Nobody's saying that it's of taking Scrum and Kanban to IT. Well, now HR will be agile. Now, no, it's about an organization being capable of adapting quickly to changes in the marketplace and responding effectively to customer demand and lead change productively and economically without jeopardizing quality, being constantly in a competitive advantage. I'm reading this slide because it is the essence of it all. Let me hope that you will leave this hall with this in mind. Organizational agility, and then there's the discussion where we said that organizational agility is it the same thing as business agility? I don't know. I wouldn't say no. As agility in scale will entail agility in business. No, you scale up with practices and methods and everything, but you don't necessarily make quicker discussions, quicker decisions, and become more competitive. I think that the purpose became disseminating agility and not focus business values. Look at the end. It is related to the evolution of values, behaviors, and organizational capabilities, because it is they that turn feasible individuals and organizations to become more adaptable, creative, and resilient, dealing with the old complexity, uncertainty, and change, entailing a better well-being and results. Question: does any company or senior management deny this in its sane mind? Would anybody deny this? No, this is not for us. Would anybody say this? We don't have to adapt ourselves to the market. A phrase by Deming. Continuous improvement is not compulsory. It's optional. As the evolution of the organization is not mandatory. Dying is optional. Like I'm joking. He says this: survival. Survival depends on learning, depends on evolution, and as the world is now, ambiguity, complexity, uncertainty, volatility, but volatility, ambiguity from complexity, and it is volatility and ambiguity at stake here. Quick changes, and the issue of complexity. Look at what Agile business conception ends up saying. This center, the core of Agile Business Consortium is organizational change. And they began putting Agile ahead of everything. Agile project portfolios, product evolution, programs, the evolution of services, and then Agile is organizational structure. Everything is Agile. Seems like what? That sect. And we observe that this creates problems in the market. Buy Agile food, Agile water. Everything has to have Agile in front. And with Agile ahead, everybody buys, pays dear for it. And what I want to show you is a second element, which is the one that has been is being shown around of the Business Agility Institute. What do they say there? They have a customer at the core, because we're talking about business agility, the customer with whom we relate. And their pillar, their model is exactly that. There is a board, there is a senior management, there is somebody who runs the organization, there is a workforce and partners. And you say, well, bloody hell, people do not have top management anymore. We're talking about companies that have to chase this, not the startups, but large companies that need updating. And how do you handle individuals? What is the model for individuals? Look at this, the growth mindset, ownership, the issue of ownership really, about products and business, about everything, and responsibility. And finally, to seek excellence, craft for excellence in as practices, what you opted to do in your professional life. And in operations, there is leadership. Here's the first issue, business agility. If, in my opinion, what I'm telling you is totally associated to business, I can tell you something, but maybe bizarre, but it is, I don't care, MGP. I don't care at all. What do you mean you don't care for MGP? You want to see something. Business agility. That means velocity. We want to adapt ourselves quickly to win competitive advantages. We want to jack up company growth. And talking to some prospects and talking to possible customers, they were telling me, look, we have this project of digital transformation. I know that several of you have been there. And I asked, very cool, what do you expect to earn from this? Well, to digitally transform the organization. Yeah, right, but what does this mean? What will be the business impact? Well, we want to scale up. We want to delight the customer because the world is digital. Yeah, right, but you haven't done it so far. Why do you have to do it now? Why? Why? Tell me why. And then they say, well, because now the water level is rising, and the problem became intolerable. Competition is harassing us, and I have to chase lost time. And there are a number of companies of digital transformation. Hire them. We don't work on this. But aren't you experts in Agile? Yes, we are. Isn't Agile the most adequate management model for this, for digital transformation? Lean, Agile, lean, Agile. Waterfall, those things of 18 months life cycle, digitally transforming. When the project is ready, technology will be different. And not to extend myself, to overextend myself, I told them, very good, I agree in that agility is a managerial model for this, but let's say this. What you have is cultural transformation and digital innovation. Think about it. There is no digital transformation. You have cultural transformation plus digital innovation. What are your business results today? What do you expect to grow with this company? What markets do you plan to win? You look at the customer portfolio results. economic results. And I heard from some, well, if the growth is of 30% last year, it will be wonderful. What would you say to this? What would you say? Don't do anything. Don't do anything. If you want the self-same 30%, just pipe down and rest back. Don't do anything. What I want to show you, in my opinion, with this business agility focus, is that in business, we want to accelerate achieving results. If you're going to move an army for a digital transformation and create the same results, this is a shame. We have to duplicate, we have to double it, we have to triple it, grow exponentially. You have a company of 2-3 billion, let's double the results in 2 years. And they said, it took us 40 years to get to 2 billion. How do you want that in 2 years? And say, by changing your mindset right off. Because what you're considering that everything will be as it always was. Quick summary, the first decade of agility and is very focused in the processes and tools, and this is very nice. People sell this and make money out of this, a process of tools and frameworks. And I like the model of Alistair Colburn, who will be a keynote speaker tomorrow. And I'm not saying that you talk about the past, I agree with him. We'll have to bring up the essence, essential values, and evolve from there. He formulates a complex model. I think that he's going to touch on this. You'll see that this model will grow, and it is a cloud of capabilities and practices. And as simply as that, we begin talking to any area of the organization. I work for commercial teams today because we're business focused. And the first decade, we always said that we do collaborate. We work with co-creation collaboratively. You're sick and tired of hearing this to deliver value to our customer. That is in the principles. It does exist. That is all very good and true, but we then reflect and ponder over it, and we continuously improve. Is there anybody against it? Is anybody against this? Does this harm the organization? The problem is that doing this mentally or on a quarterly basis, this at a strategic level, this will begin bothering people. But what happened that I want to show you? Joshua Krievsky does not deny the left-hand side. He doesn't deny it, but he says, with evolution, the next decade, lean startup, the focus on product development, that is to say, we will begin to see that all this is not enough, that looks like delivery on the left-hand side, and if it is not deeply analyzed, but we are on the right-hand side, and I will read now. Alexandre Ferreira is here. He worked with Joshua, and he implemented a module of this at the New Bank. My reading is this: it does not suffice to deliver value to the customer. That has to be constant. We have to delight the customer continuously. And then you have to look, first, we don't have any internal customers. We only have external customers. Lane indicated that. So we're delighting the customer, and I ask this: do you know of any team or company that delivers value continuously to their customers and society and their partners, being the awesome people, without having awesome people, incredible people delivering value? And in my opinion, this is a virtuous circle. The more value you deliver, the more awesome you become. What he begins to show is that it does not suffice to collaborate. We have to involve all employees and partners and so forth and make them all awesome. Those who know me know that I repeat what an expert in experience said. He wrote a book of Make Users Awesome. And what was the phrase where she said, don't try to show me how wonderful your product is. how your product is wonderful. Show me how wonderful I look using your product. How do I become awesome with your product and using your solutions? This is not possible in a phase-like stage. The world is increasingly complex and volatile, and I have to create a culture of experimentation and learning. And we know when we work with large-sized companies that people are afraid of doing it. People are afraid of making mistakes, of experimenting. And no, make a quick mistake. No, get it right quickly. Making a mistake is part of the learning process, but focus not on the error, but on the right things, on quick hits. And you're going to make mistakes along the way. What I need psychological security. A safe environment to expose what I think, and the great novelty is this. In 2001, same year of the Agile Manifesto, companies made to growth. Brutal facts. If you don't have the reality on the table, as is, you don't trust people, you never become incredible. You never become successful companies. What did I present there? That the future of agility, therefore, is to make business incredible. And since we're talking about business agility, and then I have to make business awesome, and make businesses, and business is made of people, and they exist, businesses exist to serve customer. Let us not only talk about pleasing the customer, delighting the person. I have to support a whole logistic chain. And there is the point. In Brazil, it is very funny. It is ugly to speak about results in companies. People are ashamed of talking about profit. I'm not talking about profit. I'm talking about results. If you associate results to economic results, you look at the financial perspective. You have economic results. You have clients, customers. We have the market, and we have society that you cannot control, which ensues from what you do. And would be wonderful if those results could support a transformative process, exponential organizations. And they talk about complexity, and I have this joke. Evidently, we built an equation. We're electrical engineers, we build equations. And what is incredible, awesome in our area is that it attracts the interest of management. We talk about awesome results. Does this make sense? Do I have to talk about customers and product? We start with results. And I love the reference that I saw. I heard an international lecture. The Spice Girls come in now.
Tell me what you want. What you really, really want. There you go. So the bottom line, the outcomes, the results, and when we talk about outcomes, we see that it's counting. Well, the guy doesn't know what he wants. He wants to implement squad, as Alexandre said. He wants resources, but now I want MVP. I want teams, this and that. I want to buy a new technology. He loves buying resources, waiting for results. This is linear thinking. I buy a machine, 2 machines will produce double. 2 squads produce twice that of 1 squad. So this is what people are not understanding. We have to change the minds of the leaders. Of course, we have to deliver results in the shortest possible time. Do you agree with this? No? My friend, one's beautiful squad working, and when there's no result, it's only cost. Let's talk business. It is only cost. If you have squads, for example, I saw a company with 30 squads, 80 doing the same, 8 doing the same because they didn't communicate. I'm throwing money away. I'm not worried about the business. So here we have the pragmatism point here. When we start seeing beautiful, that's great, but now look at the type of discourse we have here. We want to double revenue. What is preventing us from doubling our revenue? Well, it is impossible to do this. Then I take someone in the market and show, well, he doubled it in in half the time we are proposing. So what do you do that is less than they do? Well, they have more technology. Yes, you decided not to invest in technology all this time, and they invested. And now, are you going to cry? So we start seeing that When I go to the end, it doesn't have to be money. When I look at from the outcome to the beginning, I look back and I see what is preventing me. Not resources are preventing, but training or business capabilities. Businesses capabilities are preventing me from doing that. Delta T. So we have to have lean in our blood. We have to reduce time, have efficiency. We have to work with this. Isn't this what Kanban wants to do, the Kanban team? Well, however, I need people and technology. Awesome people and awesome technology. But one thing that I have always questioned or in the Agile conference, where are the commercial organizations? Who are we doing this to? We develop what they call exponential organizations, but we don't use it. We don't do exponential organizations. So exponential organizations, they talk less about people and more about technology. AI, IoT, 3D printing, etc. So for us, and what we have seen here in the agility in terms of growth and to have competitive difference, to have technology only will not work. And the fifth element, experience, that has to do with our culture. So before coming to this issue of the business owner model, this is the formula in practice. What they said in practice is that, look here, culture. Look at it, see if you agree. We engage by the experiences of a collaborative culture based on experimentation and learning that enchants our customers. So we are always focusing on customers, people. Culture influences people. People. We develop new leadership capacity, management, and innovation among our people with Agile. This is the point here. Processes. So you are process oriented. This will not die. We have process. Scrum is a process. Kanban is focused on process. So we accelerated our process and the delivery of products with the lean. We increased the scale and we generated new opportunities for the exponential organization. Finally, we sought the exponential growth of our business. This discourse is really scaring the high management of the company. And I'm talking about business here. I'm not talking about implementing Agile. Of course, we'll have to use a huge weaponry of all the values and principles. But this is really scary because people don't believe that it is possible to have the outcome they expect. So people, this model here, I always present it. And it has a lot to do with what Alexandre said. Let's see if you can. Those who were here in Alexandre's talk, you saw if this makes sense, the correlation I am making right now. Look, the model for business agility and the proposal I'm giving you here, why it is important to have this role of the business owner. Every organization is expecting to have results, otherwise don't even start it. Even non-profitable organizations have to be sustainable, otherwise what will they do? So they need to show results, and the result must add value. If you're not adding value to anyone, you're not having the results. So you have to understand what results really mean. It is formed of individuals and traditional leaders. Traditional managers want these individuals to be engaged with these results. What do we see here? Well, individuals are influenced by the organizational culture, the famous organizational culture, right? Well, however, people, you engage not because people said engage with delivery of results. You have to engage with their OKL. OKL will solve all the problems of the humanity. Everything that comes that is new, people say that is a panacea, that will solve every problem. Even with that paper that shows there is no such a thing as a silver bullet. Well, I would recommend a mantra for you here to repeat. Every month or every quarter you should say, we are discovering better ways to do such and such, which is what we do, doing and helping others do the same. And after this, we recognize that we should, if you find it is a lie, a fraud that you're saying, we are not finding new ways, we continue the same way, we already have a problem. Because if you do, no, we don't do, we only read and copy. No, you have to do in helping others, spreading knowledge. If you don't hit these three elements here, you'll have a problem. Look, culture focused on experience, because people engage in experience. Look at what happens for those who haven't perceived this yet. Two papers here showing Harvard Business Review saying that you can't fix culture, the culture of your company. And another one here, which is the strategy here, strategy business collection. Don't blame your culture. I love saying when I come to a company and I say, well, they say the problem is the culture doesn't let us bring culture in here. Let's talk to it. You know, it is always culture to blame, and the culture is never in the company. So this is a point to be discussed. So you have to focus on the business. You know what is the tip? And for me, this is the leap, the frog leap. I didn't do this alone. Many consultants together. Some C-level CEOs that have been our customer, and I answered for a CEO which was the father of an advocate of the devil. I learned much from him, and then we changed and we organized this model. We adapted the model, and it worked. Management. Focused on your business and see the culture changing. This is management, having a management focused on evolution, on the evolution of the organization, of the business. When I say management, don't understand managers, management, high management. The entire team is responsible for the management, the high administration, but there are leaders. There's no organization without leaders, in my opinion. So look at what happens and see here with the emerging practices. And what is easier that the agile world has done? Well, I need better results. I want better this and better that. So I start at this level of cooperation, right? Let's have practices here. Practices it means facts, and I am at the level of operations here. Operations, if you see here, which impact culture, environments, and behavior. And individuals, what are the attitudes? What is the behavior expect individuals to have? The practices they will develop in their daily lives, their habits, artifacts. And then the video, those who were not here during Alexandre's talk, I am mentioning it. He showed a video where the person reproduced what the group were doing, because if she didn't do it, she would feel different. She would feel out of the group. She started to do the same. Then they removed everyone from the room, and she continued doing it by herself, but she never learned why she was doing that. So this is what I'm saying. We start to recommend, to prescribe practices, right? Artifacts, and people start copying it. People start reproducing it, copying it. What we know today, at least in terms of best practices, is that the basic of a Kanban and Scrum, the focus is on value flow, and all the departments will follow suit, and experimentation and adaptation have to be focused on always looking at what is working, what is not, to change, to adapt. This is the first point. I hope you agree with this first statement here. Well, this was very much on the first decade. The second decade started to crop up on this area here, which they started saying that issue of the product owner, but the initiative were projects, project managers. No, we started to see, that is why we're discussing here the old projects. Not that the projects ended and no projects. It's to have a mindset of a product management, a project that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The product, I'll have a child, a son now, I have to continue with his cycle of life. So who will take care? Who will maintain this? So this second perspective here of products and services, the one before is processes. Look there. What is in blue there, if it's possible to read from afar there? Focus on the customer, experimentation and learning. This is the essence of startup and that of product management. Do you know, for example, in agility and speed, Agile started to bring, a design thinking, user experience, a lot of things. Then we have startup, mini startup. We start to see the build, measure, and learn. This all came up, but it's all in this world, in this slide here. And what I want you to see is that a product alone is not a business, and especially because we are seeing a lot of MVPs which are not minimum and are not even feasible. I have heard high administration complaining, now this horrible MVP, they deliver a software with lots of bugs, the customer doesn't know what to do. They say, well, you have a team that is go horse, and they make a big mess out of it. This is not it. This is not it. And then what we have left, the high management, the top administration complaining, and people down there just pushing. It is time for this third perspective here, and we're going increasingly more towards its results, which is strategy, beliefs and values, emotional status. We're talking about market, growth, and innovation. And finally, leadership. Leadership, we're talking here about proposal, identity, mission, inspiration, transformation, and trust. You know, there's no room for managers taking control here. In other words, we're talking about the points of views of the stakeholders. A management focused on exponential company. And we have people. The people means the why, because we have to give a why, not because I want, because I wanted to, because this is how it is done, but a why that is much more relevant. And what we want, this is what we want. We want incredible results, incredible experiences, and a personal fulfillment. How does this impact the business owner? It is right there, a process. It is the process leader, Scrum Master, Agile Coach, you know, Agile Coach. It is the focus on process leadership. The second one, we started having a product leader. And the third is there, the business leader there. And when I hear, you know, look at a lot of people complain when I say this, and they say the manager himself has to make it work if you don't understand the business, because everything has to have a product. Everything has to have a product. Maybe the business mindset is to end with the product. Then I'll have a product manager to kill that product. So this is the point that we are discussing, all of them without any exception are leaders of people. So my final minutes here, because it's a lot of information. The business owner structure will say, well, it is like the PO, the product owner. They just manage a backlog, do this, do that. They OKE backlog. No, we started to look, for example, Sabin has talked about business owner, but still in a level, there's the person that takes care of a program, talking about the PI planning leadership. It is still very much in the tool process. We started saying that is a role. It is not a job. He's a leader, not a boss. He's a business leader and not a product leader. He is the business coach, especially for the product team. And look here, he is not the key user and is not the one that creates orders. No, he is usually on the other side generating orders. No, he's there. Features there. The business leader that's selling features, he hasn't understand the business yet. He has to present the business problem, yes, and help the team contribute. He may give some tips. This is part of analyzing the solution, but it is more or less at this level. He is a program leader, not necessarily of the entire organization. Program leader. So he manages the expectation of the parts, interest of the shareholders. And look, he may or may not be the sponsor. May or may not be the sponsor. So what happens here? He does a business strategy. Yes, business strategy, vision, results, business capacity. It is not the person of product strategy. I hope there is a product owner with authority and autonomy to do this, to have this product leadership. He takes care of business planning, business evolution, inspection, and adaptation of the business. Business review. So you saw that review planning is all in business. He does not impose assumptions. He is not far from the activities, and he takes on his responsibilities, evolution and return over the investment. It is not the product owner that has this responsibility. It is the business owner. The business owner is the one that has the money at hand to invest. So what I will show here now is that, and here we have each one of these slides is very much commented there at the channel. The business owner is a business leader who acts on a context, as Alexandre was saying here. But he or she represents the business context. He or she represents, leads the business evolution in that within that context. He or she is the main stakeholder in that project or the business transformation, and represents the expectations, as I said, being the one final responsible for value creation. Look at the need for solutions and change here. The needs. He understands that new skills are the real needs for growth. So his focus is to develop skills and not features. Not features, business capabilities, business skills. If you disregard this, study it. But efficiency, efficacy, generation of new opportunities, decision making, risk mitigation, compliance is also a business capacity. Well, solutions. He understands that resources are the solutions and they must support the capacities, and guides the team vis-a-vis business level. Because here we have another point, he leads the business strategy of the company. If you, development team, if you did something and you delivered, and the business did not put it into practice, what do you think? Who is responsible for that? It is the PO that is wrong in the product, didn't test the product, or the business owner is not committed to the rollout, because he leads the business. It is not another role inside the development team. It is the business guy there, you know. Look, business owner is a business leader responsible for the evolution of an organizational context, the ownership, through a lean, exponential, lean, agile mindset applicable to the development of new skills that would leverage business results. So the business owner is focused on framework, activity, program level, program leader, but plus a process and tools. Again, this is what we want to bring to the business. We have the competences they have, because we started to develop these guys. Do you think it is easy to find a business owner? It is very difficult. Is it difficult or easy to find a product owner? It is difficult. A competent one, visionary, and we need visionary leaders. We have to develop them. Do you see this matrix here that I show? What do we want here? We want them to be involved in the APDCL, analysis, planning, execution, checking, and learning. You know, the four pillars that I presented before: strategic leadership, tactics and operation, initiatives and operation. Do you think it is easy to be a business owner in exponential agile line? It is not. We want to grow the organization exponentially. Do you think it is easy? No. We need a lot of skills. A new consultant joined our team now. She was an executive at Intel. She looked at this model here and she said, this was not it. We did this. Intel works with this in the development of their executives, and we even mapped, we created a roadmap here for this. In other words, a person that at the beginning started to have these general concepts here. And it is interesting that we tried to see, for example, do you really have this interest in being like this and continue following this? And then many, abort right at the beginning. Many stop right at the beginning. This is very complex. It's very good the way it is, etc. This is simple. What about the level 2 practitioner, business owner? Is the guy that started to practice under the guidance of another senior business owner. This is what is being done. A professional business owner. This nomenclature was not invented by us, these terms. I go to the very source of business analysis. I created a chapter there in Rio Grande do Sul of the IBA, International Institute of Business Analysis. I work with them. They have a lot of good stuff there. I feel bad sometimes because they see history repeating itself, and they have a lot of material for decades now, saying what we said in the past. I didn't know the president of IBA there, and they said, well, we have been advocating agility since 2003. It's great for the business. So this here is a case of application. I will not dwell in details. I will just mention to you. I will mention to you as follows. So where did we start to employ business owner? When I saw a project, we went to work to do a lab, the famous lab. Lab is also something that solves everything. I created a lab and put squared insides. Lab with a squared, and the business will have the digital transformation. Everything will happen there as if it were magic. Well, we started to see the top management pushing a large company. I can't say the name of the company, right? But the top management pushing a lot of features, because the top management said, no, now I want omni-channel. Now I want this such and such channel. Now it's web such and such. Now I want BI. Now I want something squad. And I heard things like, well, if IT is not delivering, create a squad there in the lab that they will deliver. Those who are from IT, information technology, should laugh at this point. Because this is the image that we have, and it is all, distorted. And we started to show this here. Well, stop wanting to solve everything, and let's define 3 business perspectives: the core business, the behind business, and the beyond business. And this is a basic point of portfolio management. This need for project portfolio management has never been so strong. It has nothing to do with what professional PMOs do. This is a work we have to do, is to transform the PMO culture. We have to create something else because we want strategic business analysis. We want the PMO to say, don't do this because it will not add value. Don't go that way. Break it here. Stop doing this. And sometimes I ask, does this project add value? Not much. Well, abort it. Stop it. It doesn't add any value. So to be an enabler and stop with command and control. And then so we start with this business accelerators. Names started to come from it. Light, Hub. If you have that name, business accelerator, what do I hope you to do inside a business accelerator? Accelerate businesses, right? Of course. There will be squads and multidisciplinary teams, but the issue is that every core business, behind business, technical debit and that, and there are anchors, and well, bring this all. This is an ICU of project portfolio management. So let's accelerate the business. Let's look at what we have in the core business, but let's look beyond the core business. The idea is to start having program leaders, business owners. The experiences brought key users. It didn't work. And they didn't have it, and then they started bringing executives that don't have time to do this, and thus, hence the question, this transformation that this accelerator wants to do of exponentializing the business, is it important for the company? Is it strategic for the company? Look at the question. Look at the question. To double the company's bottom line, to grow exponentially, is this important? Of course it is. Of course it is. So why your manager doesn't have time for this? What is he doing? What is she doing? Well, the operation solves him. He didn't develop a successor there for operations. For all the gaps, for everything, all dysfunctions, they start to crop up, and then we need maturity to solve these issues. So the first level is business owner with a sponsor. We're talking here about mentors, coaches at a business level. This is what everyone knows: POs, teams, technical leaders, pros, chapter leaders, process leaders, the coach, scrum master here, strong master here. Is fragile here, it will not work, so there needs to be a more complete agile coach here. And people. You see that we're having a lot of difficulty finding human resources, business partners with competence to do this, to look at this infection and have an agile, lean management. What I have seen is that agile coaches are wanting to be HR consultants. Just a tip. And HR consultants are afraid of that. Look at what happened at the end. We saw BO differences, our experience right side. He's an experienced leader, 100% of the business, focused on growth based on gains, ROI, exponential thinking, long-term global view, and this accelerates, makes the whole difference. This is the growth mindset. The person that they put in this position for us with this left side here is really bad, doesn't work at all. So to conclude, the product owner syndrome became the most critical role for product-oriented companies. The business owner became the most critical role in the companies that aim at the so coveted business agility. So this is my final invitation to you. It's up there on top there on the right-hand corner. It's written bit.do.business/business dash owner. There they will show you a page that at the end of the month we will launch a program there to train business owners. For those who have an interest in knowing it, to know what this is all about and see this content that is already there at the video channel. and enter a discussion. And then is it complex or not? Is this or not? So by month end, we hope that those who are interested in receiving will receive it before it is published, before it gets in the air. We will deliver this. I hope that I have given you the right idea. And if anyone has any question, we have a break now. I have 1 minute to stop talking and 10 minutes to start the coffee. So I'm available here. Thank you. Hello, Luiz. Good afternoon. I loved it. I loved it. Well, of all these competencies you listed there, which is the most difficult skill to develop there, of all those skills there? Well, of my own experience, I would say visionary leader. Visionary leadership. You know, to be a visionary leader, I'm expecting a business person to think in growth, and the person that wants to get away from problems and not to go towards something big. And there are people that yesterday, it's not here, but yesterday I was in a restaurant there, and there comes a time when either you change or you'll be fired, or you move to something else. You know, this is the point, to be a visionary leader, and this is good for product owner, for everyone. This is the most important skill, I guess, right now. But it's a huge workload. I don't do it. Executive coaches, high-level, top-level executive coaches that say, well, is this really what you want? You will have to change. I heard here, just apologize, but I want to use this opportunity. I heard once a monk telling a story that he said, well, to create a leader is like to make a samurai sword. You hit, you hit, and then you put it in a cold water bucket. In other words, you have to create resilience. And it is hard. It is hard. I'm not saying that it is hard to control. No, you have to experiment. You have to try. You change, you know, by fire, as you like saying it. You know, it's hard.